This is the first of many video productions. We are fortunate to have an excellent photographer, Andre, and videographer, Stan, who is in the background taking care of all of the small parts to make sure it turns out perfect. So let's see what happens. So, what I'm going to show you today is an antique OTDR called an Anritsu. It was part of the Wiltron Anritsu merger, and it's been around for quite a few years, but it's seen in many facilities still. And it's an excellent OTDR for long distance. We can go from here to Winnemucca and see a detail as small as a bend in a piece of fiber. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through and show you how it works. So the first thing is you can see the display, it's set up, it's running, and I have a marker that I'm moving around, and what the marker does is gives me a distance down here on the bottom, and this says that it's about 7.285 kilometers long. And what that is the length of fiber in this reel. Now this reel happens to be a spare one we had. It was spliced in because we needed something to show you on the video. Our official test box at this time is broken. So we're using just a reel of wire. If the test box was here, we would see multiple problems along that line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to look at the end of the cable, and where it starts to go up like that, you can see 22.7 kilometers. So we can see details on this one out to 22.7 kilometers. We know there's about 22.7 kilometers on that reel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the setup and show you how it works so that you can do it yourself. So first thing, you want to make sure you wear safety glasses, and we have a whole bunch of controls on here. We have markers, we have that we can put on the trace, we have zooms and all of this, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn it off. That's how you will find it. So we turn it on and it goes through the self-test. Andre, can you see the detail? Can you? Oh, that's a good idea, Stan. Shut the door. Okay, it comes up first, and it has a lot of different numbers all around. What comes up first is the settings. How we have the settings of the vertical input and output zooms is all up here. And distances, I have it in the splice loss position down here, so it'll measure the dB of a splice. So we start up here and we push the soft key. It says condition, and I push the button. The first button or first soft key here, it says distance. So when I push the distance, it gives me a series of distances, how far I want to go and what my distance is. It starts with 10 kilometers and goes up to 250 kilometers. So what we have is we have a reel. We know that it's about 25 kilometers, less than 25 kilometers. So I'm going to push the 25 kilometer button. What that tells it is set the range for about 25 kilometers. And the next button down is pulse. And when I push the pulse, I have 20 nanoseconds, 100 nanoseconds, and 500 nanoseconds. The longer the pulse, the longer the signal will go out. So since this is a very close pulse, I'm going to push the 20 microsecond pulse. Attenuation I don't have to worry about. The mask I don't have to worry about. But the output power I have to push. That's another annoying thing, is the beep. The output power I have set right here to 0. That's the lowest setting it has. The reason I have it at 0 is we have such a small cable. If we were going longer, we would put more power into it, but this gives us more detail and allows us to see, have less dead zone. So we leave that and we hit the button down here. It says set, and everything's set up now. So the next thing we're going to do is we have a wavelength select, and we're going to push this, and the wavelength is marked right here. It's either 1550 or 1310. So I have it on the 1310 right now. We have a button down here that does averaging. I'm going to leave the averaging off. The averaging smooths out the curve, takes time to smooth it out. I'm going to leave it off for right now. Now the last thing I do is I make sure that a fiber's connected, the other side of the cable is connected to a reel and terminated, and this lid is up so that it holds it up and nobody's in the path, and I push the laser on button. Red light comes on and I can see that the laser is on. So what this does is it shows the pulse. What I did is I terminated the cable. Better than it was, so I don't see a heavy spike in the end. Okay, so we're just going to have to leave it like that. That wouldn't have done it if I'd have wanted it to. So you can see there's markers on here, the little X. I don't know if you can see that, but as I move this, what happens, I can push that marker wherever I want, and I can do a attenuation from marker to marker. I push the marker again, and I have other markers on there that I can move around, and this down here shows me the distance and the attenuation for each of them. And if I put the marker on a splice, it'll tell me the actual attenuation of the splice. So if I want to zoom in, I can push the vertical zoom in here, and if I'm at a limit, it beeps at me, and I think I can zoom in, and I can also zoom out. Let's stop it.